This era of politics began with a rather massive political shift from Democrat to Republican, with Republican nominee Warren G. Harding winning 404 electoral votes and 60% of the total popular vote, much larger than Woodrow Wilson's slim win in 1916 with 277 electoral votes and 49% of the popular vote. This huge shift in politics was mainly due to the growing hostility towards Woodrow Wilson, caused by Wilson not upholding one of the main concerns of the 1916 election, U.S. neutrality in World War I. Additional social issues that fueled the massive drift in American politics were the controversies of the League of Nations, women's suffrage, and prohibition. Warren G. Harding's victory in the election of 1920 sparked what is known today as the Republican Decade, which saw Republicans consistently achieving a landslide majority of the electoral votes due to their seemingly strong handling of the economy and issues over prohibition.
On October 29, 1929, a day known now as Black Tuesday, the stock market crashed. Many believe this was mainly due to the handling of buying on margin or buying assets by getting loans to pay for them. By the Republican administrations leading up to the crash, this caused many to lose faith in the economy and kickstarted what is known today as the Great Depression, an era of severe economic decline where essentially a fourth of all Americans were unemployed. Once the Great Depression hit America, millions of people lost income, employment, and even the ability to feed the mouths of their families, which caused ripples in the relationships of many Americans. The Hoover administration's response to the Great Depression was a process known as trickle-down economy, where businesses and banks were financially supported by the government in hopes that they would put personal interests aside in hopes of helping the people. Unfortunately, this failed, and the population of America viewed this response as one of inaction, with almost nothing being done to relieve financial pressure on the people actually severely affected by the Great Depression. This caused severe backlash towards Hoover and caused people to turn to another person for help, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, also known as FDR. During the election of 1932, many political cartoons sprung up about Hoover's inaction towards the Great Depression in order to influence people to vote in FDR.
The results of the 1932 election were an absolute landslide in favor of FDR. The American people were sick of Hoover's inaction towards the Great Depression and decided to elect a president who would proactively attempt to solve it, relieve millions of people from financial pressure, and recover America's economy from before the Great Depression hit. Additionally, another reason FDR won the presidency was through his use of media, mainly the radio, to gain the support of the average American. During the FDR administration, much work was done to recover from the damage the Great Depression caused for the American economy. The main points of FDR's policies were to provide relief, recovery, and reform to the people of America, such as through creating government programs such as Social Security, creating jobs, and providing relief towards areas of the economy that desperately needed it, such as agriculture. FDR's helpful policies and popularity with the people of America ultimately ended in him receiving 4 terms in the White House, the most of any president ever. Despite his accomplishments, many believed that FDR's presidency was imperial and a dictatorship due to him constantly rerunning until he died in 1945. Many thought that he should have passed the baton to another person. Additionally, another controversy involving FDR was packing the Supreme Court, which many thought was him trying to take over every area of the government to make them all loyal to him. This resulted in many forms of media criticizing the FDR administration, including political cartoons. Midway through FDR's second term, World War II began. At the time, many Americans disliked the idea of going to the war and desired neutrality. However, that all changed on December 7, 1941.
On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the Hawaiian naval base of Pearl Harbor. This attack on our nation immediately resulted in the U.S. declaring war on Japan and bringing us into World War II. This attack completely shifted public and the media's opinion on World War II from neutrality to desiring retaliation, which is very easily viewed through political cartoons and news outlets at the time. The events that transpired at Pearl Harbor is what brought the U.S. into World War II and led the Allies to victory. FDR died on April 12, 1945, due to the complications with his polio. He was succeeded by his Vice President Harry S. Truman, who led America through the rest of World War II and also ran for re-election in 1948 and won.
Surprisingly, Republican nominee Dwight D. Eisenhower won the election of 1952, granting Republicans control of the White House for the first time in 2 decades. This was mostly due to the very popular status of Eisenhower, with him being a war hero in general during World War II, and also due to Harry S. Truman and Democratic Party's declining support. With the rising power of the Soviet Union as a superpower after the end of World War II, a fear of communism spreading in America began. Many people and media outlets saw the style of government as dystopian, which fueled American hatred towards the Soviet Union and sparked the beginning of the Cold War.